Welcome, everybody, to Portal to Another Dimension, the podcast that opens gateways to uncharted dimensions, theories, and is your passport to the unknown, and you've just stepped into the portal. I'm Drago Reid, your host and navigator through these mysteries that lie beyond the depths of our understanding and the unexplored territories of truth. So sit back and enjoy the ride as I peel back the veil of reality, where each episode becomes your portal to unlocking forbidden knowledge, the secrets within, and the keys to awakening that lies dormant within you. Buckle up, my friends, because everything you thought you knew will change from this moment on as I unravel and unweave the threads to the cosmic play in this convoluted multiverse. Welcome to Humans 2.0. Welcome to the new reality. Today is April 23rd, 2024, and I'm coming at you live from the Citadel in Tampa, Florida. And today's guest is a cosmic master and an energetic healing ninja that has been a warrior in the cosmic play for so many lifetimes that what has emerged as a quantum wizard capable of feats so unimaginable, with a mind that's so complex that he can see through time and space, traversing the primitive and program limitations and constraints of the human mind and break it free from its program prisons. Dr. Amir Jahangiri is a lecturer in computer science with a PhD in brain-computer interfaces and a postdoc in artificial intelligence from the University of Essex, United Kingdom. His research includes the design of a novel linguistic BCI that recognizes imagined words in the human brain for operating and controlling a computer. He has also worked on developing new approaches to predictive modeling using inverse reinforcement learning by focusing on the structure of the reward function, also known as the AI brain. Amir also has degrees in optoelectronics, radio frequency engineering, and telecommunications engineering. He has also dedicated over 35 years of his life to the path of spiritual mastery and becoming a master holistic health practitioner. Amir's mission is to find gifted people and help them pursue their spiritual mission on planet Earth. He is the creator of his own modality, Dragon Reiki, which I'm very excited to explore today. The treatments offered include a unique and personal combination of the following modalities: Dragon Reiki, Reiki Drum, Kuji-Kiri, Qigong, Shamanism, PranaYama, mental and emotional programming, crystal healing, light language activation, spiritual contract revocation, spiritual counseling and guidance, Chord Cutting, soul shard retrieval, past life regression, entity and implant removal, ancestral and family karmic clearing, total energy and chakra balancing, psychic defense, and aura repair. Amir also reads the Akashic records and discovers starseed origins. He can also assist with DNA activations and upgrading the light body. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Wizard of Wivenhoe, Dr. Amir Jahangiri. Thanks for being on the show, my friend.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. My warmest greetings to you. It's an absolute profound honor to be here. What can I say? I'm humbled with your kindness. What an intro. I hope I live up to your expectations.
Amir, you've blown me away in so many ways, and like a lot of the readings you've done for a lot of my friends has really helped them kind of integrate who they are. And it's your work and your alone and your gifts that's pretty much opened blocked portals in a lot of us. And I thank you for the work you've done and the help you've done for me, myself, and everyone I know. And man, I'm so excited just to have you on my show, man.
I feel the same excitement. Thank you so much. You mentioned blockages and helping people remember. That's really all that I'm doing. I'm not doing anything for anyone or giving them anything. It's just simply a reminder of the truth that they hold within them. And you see, once you remember something with certainty, that's the end of the journey, or 99% of the victory. From there, they can follow through and do their own amazing soul work. You know, we're born into a convoluted holographic system of darkness. And the physical vessels that we occupy aren't really put together correctly. It turns out this entire domain of reality is a grand experiment where the objective seems to be creating the most resilient vessel that is capable of holding a shard of source. And so to this end, the experiment has had many iterations. And also, at a certain stage, many alien races were invited to the party to cause chaos and mayhem, just to up the level of difficulty and also integrate their own DNA, their own information and knowledge into the experiment, just for the sake of making the human being more resilient. So the bodies we occupy right now, they're not the final iteration, far from it. They're just put together in a very messy, rushed, clumsy way to test certain, or let's say rather, a very few genetic characteristics. And it seems now this version of the experiment is rolling up. It's coming to an end, and the desired objective in the past few iterations seem to be creating a vessel that is optimized for multidimensional warfare. So the physical aspect has been perfected a long time ago through the introduction of different diseases and natural events that would harm the vessel. So we're very adaptable. Our immune system is a masterpiece of genetic engineering. But also we have the capability to surpass any other being in multidimensional warfare and resilience. And that was the objective of the past few iterations. And see, the thing is that we all have access to this, although we're not born with them switched on. Under certain circumstances, these can be reached and activated. And so this is the journey we all must step into, discovering these dormant gifts that are already available to us. And so there are many different paths and modalities towards this. Some are more gentle, some are significantly more brutal and aggressive, but the end result seems to be the same thing. Once you discover the truth of the human nature, then there seems to be nothing that we cannot do. There seems to be nowhere we cannot access. So I'm the biggest fan of the mighty human, of course, once they are enlightened.
Thank you for that, man. Speaking of tampering of the human evolution and how much the earth or the experiment, you've mentioned in one of your videos that the vessel is implanted and controlled through levels over levels of astral implants connecting to the nervous system, the glands, and every other organ in the body. Can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. So within a scientific setting, we have a controlled experiment where all parameters and factors are kept at a constant. So the effects of the variation of one parameter can be examined, measured under different circumstances. And so as a result, as the, let's call it the divine experiment, because that's how it really started off. It was a prime creator of a different universe who put all this into motion to create a resilient vessel where natural evolution creates beauty, but it is slow, drunk, dizzy, and unguided. And a lot of these beings would not survive. Even the mildest variation in, let's say, radiation, temperature, they just die off. And so this was a project by the highest form of prime creators to initiate unnatural evolution, to be more specific, guaranteed unnatural evolution, meaning that circumstances that occur here on Earth are abnormal in their harshness. And so through this kind of experiment, it was also decided to temper with the natural lifespan of humanity. So earlier versions of the experiment would live quite a lot longer. We're talking about millennium, thousands of years. They were much more robust physically. In terms of intellect, I think we're at a good level of peak. So they were just as smart as us. But our advantage after this final round is our psychic abilities. And I say this with great certainty. Spiritual masters who are alive at this moment are more powerful and capable than anything in history. No human has ever reached the levels that living masters now have reached. And so you asked about different levels of implants. So the whole reality is an experiment. It's a projected reality, like a hologram, very realistic. The hologram includes our bodies. And so therefore, there's no need to optimize them. It's just to test certain characteristics and also to keep the humans in a controlled environment. They must, and I mean by they, there's a whole range of species that are in charge of this from the seventh dimension down, that are in charge of running the matrix, running the hologram, data mining life on Earth, not just humanity, many species. And so they keep humans in a state of amnesia and paralysis almost, using a whole range of implants and artificial life forms. And so I just present this fact to our esteemed audience that you shouldn't be searching for physical evidence in these situations. You should expand your consciousness to observe these things for yourself. And if you haven't reached a state where you can see, and I mean have the knowingness of such information by now, personally, then something has gone seriously wrong for you. And there are many modalities, many methods of meditation that just break you open. They free you from the cage that's this illusion of reality. And so there are a number of things that are done in every dimension to keep humanity in this sort of anesthetized state for the experiment to continue without trouble. So the motivation behind this was at a certain stage, humans were living freely in nature, living in small tribes. And oh my God, when they tried to capture us, we fought back, inflicting tremendous casualties on these species. Because a human that is aware that their freedom is threatened will do everything in their power to maintain their freedom. So humanity was encouraged to live in little towns and villages, and then the size grew up into cities. This makes it easy if you have the entire herd in one place. You can bombard them with radiation and chemicals, tamper with their food, their water, and also through the energetic grids of planet Earth, which have also been heavily modified. So part of the activation would require the natural energetic grids of the Earth to be active. So as you hit puberty, also a significant majority of your soul memories would come in. That process has been impeded. And then to make things even more controlled and, let's say, guaranteed for the experiment to run uninterrupted, there are many types of astral implants and also sentient life forms, not all of them natural. They're engineered for the task that are used. It seems that the chakra system is an overlay to the infinite body. And so a lot of modalities of spirituality and magic have a representation of the tree of life. This is not a representation of the infinite universe. Rather, it's the representation of the prison system, and how by its very geometric and energetic definition, there is no escape. There's a cyclical movement. You climb to the top and fall back down, climb to the top and fall back down. And so a lot of these implants tap into the chakras, and they affect humanity in many ways. So most of the crown, third eye, jade gate, and soul star chakra implants are responsible for preventing higher consciousness from communicating with the lower consciousness, the conscious mind, the monkey brain. You see this almost in every super soldier, because they're more targeted memories that must be suppressed. And so this is very, very common among these people, but also among others who have particularly powerful souls with specialized abilities. This kind of crown chakra and higher chakra interference is very common. There's also other types of harvesting of energy from humanity, and this is not the purpose of the grand experiment. This rather came in after the introduction of the pirate species.
Which you refer to them as the Anunnaki?
Yes, the Anunnaki are one of the pirate species. Very narcissistic. They love themselves as gods, where they're not really that advanced. It doesn't seem they're very moral either. It seems they caused severe damage to their own home world. And now they're intertwined with humanity to such a degree that without humanity, they don't exist either. So they're, yes, absolutely one of the pirate species, many reptilian species, a whole range of gray aliens, other species that are not bipedal, many of them that don't like taking solid form. They have a self-serving interest through the evolution, the guaranteed unnatural evolution of humanity. They have access to new chemicals generated by our brain, by our glands, by our bodies. So that's an entire black market of its own. And then there's the genetic information, of course. So there's another black market. So the first one, the chemical and energetic one, could be analogous to a drug black market. Very potent narcotics, and they've got a whole range of species completely hooked onto this. So that's a big commodity. Extracted from humanity.
What specifically are they extracting from us that these other beings are utilizing?
So let's start from the lower chakras. Let's go to the root chakra. And as far as I've observed through hundreds of clients, about 85% of humanity is harvested in this way. So it's the harvesting of the Kundalini energy, the sexual energy. And so this is then translated into something like a book in a library, where a client can go in, pick a book, and experience the sexual union with any human that's been harvested in that way. So the height of desire, say somebody is having a sexual union and they're really into it and they're at their peak physically, emotionally. So that energy is harvested and taken away, and it's a powerful, very harmful, very addictive narcotic. Then comes, let's go to the sacral chakra. This would be sensuality. This is another flavor of narcotic, where it would give them a sense of euphoria, being in the beauty of nature, Mother Earth. Everything that is beautiful and enjoyable in the third dimension is modeled and copied into that kind of narcotic. So these are the two most common. There's also harvesting of the solar plexus, raw energy. That would be like similar to athletes using doping for performance. That would be another type of narcotic. And so these are the three most common. So the lower chakras. There's a massive black market. Many, many species are involved. And of course, there are human facilitators that are involved in this, some knowingly, some unknowingly, but there's a whole supply chain for this. So moving to the black market and the pirate species. But then part of the original design of the experiment is suppression of information coming from the infinite soul into the vessel. So the human does not remember whom and what they truly are. Our lifespans are shortened to, let's say, an average of 70, 75 years. So as soon as we figure things out, the life is ended, and we go back into the amnesia machine. By the way, the reincarnation cycle is completely hijacked too. So it seems souls that enter don't get to exit very often. So memories are wiped and back in you go. The types of implants are, I would put them into three major categories. One would be dumb implants, little circuits, energetic circuits in the fourth dimension and above, very specific tasks, usually creating noise. And burning them out is relatively straightforward. If you've ever practiced breathing techniques through pranayama or qigong, where you build up your life force through breathing and then releasing, essentially going supernova, seems you burn out the vast majority of these dumb implants. The next category would be sentient AI, artificial intelligence. These are almost all the time connected to the brain, the nervous system, and they run incessant repetitive thoughts, let's say limiting thoughts, inserting belief systems that would prevent the human from activating or remembering their abilities. These can be removed through shamanic techniques, and then depending on their type, they may choose to evolve and ascend. So essentially join the true divine order of evolution, pay for their mistakes, learn and become something completely different, or you can burn them out. The third type that's also very common, and these are nasty little buggers, is sentient life forms. They don't originate anywhere in nature. It seems that they're a mishmash of many different natural organisms and technology. You can observe them, and again in quotations, once you tune into their energy, seems they look like jellyfish or octopus, where the tendrils would very neatly plug into the chakra system, causing mayhem in the body. And also they would act as a harness or a ball and chain, severely limiting what the individual is capable of doing, causing a whole range of psychological, emotional, and physical illnesses. And these are very common, specifically in the more powerful individuals. And powerful, I mean as a soul, an individual who's gone through many rites of passage and attained by right, by merits, levels of greatness. These are the people that are very targeted in this way, down here in this dumpster fire we call Earth.
Man, I really resonate with those words. You had mentioned that basically there's a reincarnation kind of death trap installed, and it wasn't always like this, because in the Dolores Cannon world, we like to refer to this Earth as a school. But what people's not realizing is, I think it used to be a school, but then it was hijacked. And a lot of the remote viewing that's been done and kind of outing this whole reincarnation trap, there's a lot of cognitive dissonance when it's brought up, and there's a lot of heat coming at people when they try to bring stuff up like that. But what I've seen with QHHT, I've actually asked about these traps, and I realize most QHHT people, they don't actually ask about these death traps. And it was Dr. Courtney Brown that started putting out some material with Farsight Institute about these death traps, and how once you leave the Earth, you hit the artificial matrix grid, and it kind of reinserts you back into everything, gives you a life review, and basically they choose where your body's going to go, and they could throw you back in time, back into the same vessel over and over and over. And it's getting to the point where we need more people like you to help bring out these alternative ideas, because the Earth is not all love and light like we thought it was. Like before the Anunnaki came, you had mentioned that the experiment was going a little bit differently. I think before then we had at least 22 genetic experiments going. Before the Anunnaki came and actually messed up our telomeres, I think it was telomere number 2, which they put a cap on that, which made our age about 70 years. They installed the religious worshiping gene, all that stuff. And before that, our brain volume was almost double what it was now. So that suggests spiritually and psychically that the beings before us were more evolved than we are. And then when the pirates, the Anunnaki, came, they put on all these restraints, even more so than the previous progenitors of the experiment did. And I feel that since then it's been chaos. And
Yes,
I guess my
absolutely.
main question is, why would they hold back our evolution back so much in this time and space? What was the
That's
role? Why were they allowed to do this, being that prime creators wouldn't normally allow something like this to happen? So why the hijack? Why the overt control? And why has no one came in and saved us, being that this violates the prime directive? Everybody focuses on the prime directive. They say when an advanced species comes down, they can't show themselves because it would change our spiritual evolution. We would worship them as gods, the whole cargo cult theory. But the earth is one of the very few matrices in this universe that's been hijacked so much
correct.
that everything here is unnatural. Our evolution isn't natural. Last time you like to mention Ashiana Dean as well in some of your work, where
Yes.
it's showing us that every time we try to go to evolve and go back to the source, or we go back to we go up to the next dimension. You kind of talk about that and you say part of it's true, part of it's not, but apparently last time this happened in the last grand cycle, they hijacked it. And a lot of the
Oh,
souls that were supposed to return to source, they actually didn't go, and they were reincarnated back onto the earth and the different planets by force.
so I love this question. Oh man, amazing. So did we get hijacked really, really awfully? Oh, yes, we did. But that's the purpose, you see. It's the name of the experiment is guaranteed unnatural evolution. And so collectively, as humanity, we are in agreement with this because we're the beneficiaries of the result as a soul and as a vessel. Now, let's look at the Anunnaki, the recent addition to the pirates. So yes, they did tamper with our genome. Yes, they did put many, many limitations on humanity. And guess what? We evolved out of all of it. So looking at peaks of civilization in the last, say, 50,000 years, Lemuria, Atlantis, same thing happened, right? Every time we reach a high point, it's sabotaged and the conditions are made more severe. In terms of levels of resilience and capability, we are the peak of design anywhere. And I stand by this. And I'm not looking at the vessels we are occupying right now. In terms of the complete design, we out evolved all those limitations. There is no other being in the cosmos that can be effed with in such a manner and continue breathing, never mind thriving. I really want to push this point on how mighty and powerful the human is. And so here we come to the end of another iteration. Many of us are ready to pop out. You mentioned the reincarnation grids and the recycling of souls. Yes, the conditions for entering into the mix of the experiment have never changed. A soul may enter, go through this tough, harsh environment. The benefit is richness of experience and proving themselves worthy, gaining badges of honor in a way that's difficult to describe in 3D physical terms. Through going through hardship and still demonstrating love, through being harmed and still demonstrating forgiveness and compassion. These are difficult things to model anywhere else in the universe. And so the soul benefits in this way. If a species in lower dimensions that would have genetic codes or energetic codes compatible enters, that also enters the mix. This is what happened with the Anunnaki also. So all their quote-unquote brilliance is now our quote-unquote brilliance. That's the price they paid for entering. So it's all really finely balanced. Now, this would be interesting to many of our esteemed audience. This whole notion of imprisonment and the false reincarnation grids, which absolutely do exist. So this is something that we will find out sooner or later. Whatever and whoever you are when you're alive, you're going to be the same when you're dead. So if you suffer from the impediment of false belief systems, shedding the physical vessel is not going to make any difference. You have to shed these chains while you are alive. And so many, many great humans experience traveling through their consciousness across the cosmos, across the infinite fractal of existence. It cannot be described. Infinity doesn't even come close to describing what this is. Beyond time, space, dimensionality, beyond primordial void, primordial fields of sound, primordial fields of light, going right into the heart of the source of all things. This is what we are capable of. So once you can do this when you are alive, guess what? You can do it when you're out of body even better. And I want to also emphasize this. Many of us have done this thousands of times over. We've gotten so good at this, they don't even bother messing with us anymore. We come in with the same limitations that every other human comes in with. We become experts at jailbreaking. We choose to come back in. They don't know what to do with us. So we come in to even ascend higher and to also help others along the way as noble companions, as comrades, as teachers, as lovers, as parents, as children, right? So we are the ascended masters in these bodies. You will see this very, very clearly once you realize your own infinity. That all these spirit guides and angels and guardians and all that stuff, they're all you. All aspects of you, the infinite you. And what a beautiful moment that realization is. Where there is no jail. You're the master of the game. Everything here is just put into place to serve you. And then all this darkness and difficulty finds meaning. It's all a simulation, like Special Forces school. What do you think these guys do all day? Lie in the sun and drink mojitos? I don't think so. They push their bodies and minds to the breaking point. This is what this is. It's a school of training souls that are special. I mean, really special. So then they can migrate to other points in the infinite fractal of existence, maybe start their own universe and create, maybe correct an entire species as a teacher, or maybe they just want to reincarnate as a cat because they're tired of it all. You know, have a vacation lifetime.
I was just thinking how me being in the secret space program and all we would see the trafficking of the human genome and genetics throughout the entire universe. And we were told that the other beings, they see humans as this godlike commodity because we possess certain traits that no other being in the universe possesses. And it's
Correct.
because of our extreme, I would call it training. This holographic matrix, when we enter into it, like, people need to understand that it's an honor to actually take part in this experiment and to be in the physical, because nowhere else in the universe can you get such a diversity of experiences.
Yep.
And you could play the bad guy, you could play the good guy, and you can learn about humanity and about how life evolves. And it teaches you about your own kind of spiritual evolution. And like what I'm doing here, one of my agreements was I would come here at this time and place because the hijacking got a little out of control. And what I was going to do is I was going to incarnate. I incarnated into one of the most horrific scenarios so that I can go through this trauma-based mind control, be broken, have my mind broken. But then look what it made me into. It turned me into one of the most amazing soldiers. It turned me into a leader. It turned me into someone who can take large amounts of pain, and then everything I've ever learned, I can use that to help heal other people. Because if people can understand that I've gone through more pain than they will ever go through, more than likely in their entire lifetime, and I never suffered from drug abuse, and I never went to the point where I would curse being alive, and I channel that That's a strength. Most beings never come to that, a true strength from this experiment. So I agree. It's definitely needed. It's definitely necessary, and they're basically making the warriors of this entire universe, man.
Yes, yes. And a lot of them are aspects of prime creators of different universes. And so they would be clients of the experiment, which is guaranteed unnatural evolution. So the life forms that evolve in their universe are weak, not resilient. They come in as clients and give the genetic blueprints of their creation, run it in the mix, and something comes out that is truly amazing. And so there is a purpose to this. You know, it's not easy coming to acceptance from a human point of view, especially when you realize how severely controlled our lives are. Every thought, every decision, everything that really makes life worth living is strictly controlled, especially reproduction. Now imagine if the whole purpose is to pass genetic traits to the next generation, this aspect will not be left uncontrolled. So a lot of these relationships that happen and don't work out, there's no soul compatibility. It's just to pass these traits onto the next specimen of human for the experiment to continue. That is deeply upsetting. It is very upsetting. There is no way but to feel violated and betrayed. But again, when you look at it from a more extended, multidimensional point of view, there is a great purpose to all this hardship. There is no cruelty, really. It seems that way when you're going through it in a physical body, but then once you evolve out of it, you see how it is strengthening you. I love your perspective on the hardship that you've gone through. See, this has evolved you and strengthened you, not just as a human, not just as the vessel, but as a soul. The way you're able to transmute these dense energies in an instant. This is a soul skill. And by the way, not every soul has this. And the way you learn how to heal is to feel what you are going to heal. You must feel it. Otherwise, you have no idea what you're talking about. And so as great teachers and healers and creators, we have to be intimately involved in the very most dense of it. And so that's what a lot of us are doing here. And I think a majority of humanity, if you're living in these bodies as a human right now, that means you are a very special soul, because everyone in the extended cosmos knows about this grand experiment, which is guaranteed unnatural evolution. And they stay in line for millions of years just to get a ticket to enter. And it doesn't happen for everybody. If you're here, you are very powerful. If you're here, you've got a track record of being a badass. Over time, many universes, many different places, we're not here by accident. And you see what the outcome is. We started off, let's say, 200,000 years ago with the Anunnaki coming in, very, very significantly modifying us, turning us into something that's not much more intelligent than an ape, than a chimpanzee. And they're pretty intelligent, though, you see. And now look at what we are. The sublime art we create, the depths of knowledge and mathematics and knowledge of physical reality that we have, and also in a fewer of us, the depths of spiritual ability that we can bring into this dimension. No human in any iteration over tens, maybe hundreds of millions of years, because this has been going on for a very long time, over many universes, in fact, over 23 universes. This is not the first time this is occurring. And by the way, it's not going to stop anytime soon because the results are just too good. Prime creators of different universes come in. Hey, look, we've created beautiful life. These bastards die out. This is not acceptable. Toughen them up. Because life is beauty, life is grace, life is elegance, and life must survive. And things are tough out there. So here we go. We've got the school of hard knocks, the guaranteed unnatural evolution. And boy, oh boy, what we are truly is beyond description. No other natural organism can match us in any way. So something else that's now I really want to focus on is, okay, we're in these bodies, they're not put together very well, our mind is sabotaged, our energy is sabotaged, the whole thing is messed up. What now? What about us here? This noble vessel, the noble human? Well, we can dig our way out. You have to meditate on yourself. You don't need any guru, you don't need any book, religion, paradigm, anything. The answers are already within. Find a modality that works well for you. The more you dig, the more of the truth you will find, that you are the source of all things, a shard of this mighty infinite being in these bodies. You are a drop from the mighty ocean, and yet you are the mighty ocean in one drop. You are source. That's the definition of magic. That's what wizards and witches achieve. They know they are source, they speak it into existence, or they think it into existence. And so that's also what profound healing is. Any physical ailment, psychological ailment, energetic ailment is the end result of something else going on in higher dimensions. You just remind the person, hey, buddy, by the way, this is what you're believing incorrectly. You shatter the belief, everything trickles down in a corrected form. All these data stores of divine blueprints, the results of these experiments are available to us. You can download them and embody them. It can't be done overnight, but if you persist, you'll get enough to blow your own socks off, to amaze yourself. What is possible?
You know, that's how I became a healer. It was that journey on the inside, not searching for the external answers. Because when I went through a life of pain, just outside the SSP stuff, I've died twice, 2 out-of-body experiences. I've broken at least 16 bones, traumatic brain injury. And my body is so broken that I haven't slept in at least a decade. And it was going on the inside that made me strong. It was going on the inside that never allowed me to search the external for prescription drugs, to numb it, to distract it. And when the pain comes, I honor it. And it's not necessarily I focus on the pain. I accept it as a reminder of evolution, that I can get past anything, no matter what the pain is. And I will always do it without drugs. I don't take prescription drugs to sleep. I will literally allow myself to be tortured in that way. That's kind of how it feels. It feels like a form of torture. But in that torture, I found bliss. I found peace. I found myself in a way that no one can understand unless you talk to a person like me and you suffer from pain. And you've tried to drown yourself out with prescription drugs and all these other modalities that are self-harming. Then you see a person like me that never had to do that. And through the power of my mind, without begging the other beings or searching externally for answers to help me, I did it myself. And that's true spiritual evolution. And when other souls that suffer can see that in me, my story helps change them, because at that point they know they can do it themselves as well.
I love what you just said. You see, if you are a human being, you can do it. And so many of us are here just to break the illusion that it's impossible. When you see people cure cancer in their own body through meditation, now I've come across 3 individuals who have done this, and I know that it is genuine, then the illusion that this is impossible goes away. The next thing you must remove from your mind is, I can do it. If you don't believe you can do it, that is an illusion, that is falsehood. So really our task is removing the falsehood. That will liberate you from many physical restrictions. So perhaps it is not possible to modify these vessels to the full extent of all the results of these genetic experiments. That is to be manifested perhaps by a prime creator in a different universe. But the soul gifts that you have acquired are much greater than any genetic blueprint. You can create in yourself things that have never been created. This is our birthright. as the mighty human being who's gone through torment and hardship that is quite frankly unnatural. We have come out not only alive, but we are thriving. The world is a mess. It is a doo-doo show, a dumpster fire. But look at what's been done to us. And here we are. Now, this whole process of liberation, really breaking free, cracking the dam, it can be done in as few as 9-10 weeks. If you have the discipline to continue with meditation. And by the way, I'm just going to share what worked for me. There may be many modalities that work for you. What really, really helped me was a modality called the Kuji-Kiri. It's ancient, it's pre-experiment, it doesn't originate here on Earth, and it was planted as a get-out-of-jail-free card for humanity when they become ready. It's traced back in our known history, 25,000 years in India. They are super advanced, by the way. The Indian culture doesn't get enough credit. And then it moved to China and then into Japan.
Speaking of India, sorry
Warriors.
to cut you off, but you had an Agori life. The Indians.
Oh yes, that was a naughty lifetime. The Agoris are powerful left-hand path practitioners. Oh, by the way, yes, they're cannibals. And yes, by the way, nobody messes with the Agori. They're freaking insane. So that was an interesting life that I had. And when I passed away, all India rejoiced that, oh my God, he's finally dead. I lived for 200 years in that body, and that is crazy. So yes, going back to the Kuji-Kiri, when it entered Japan, the ninja adapted this because in addition to extreme physical conditioning, they wanted every supernatural advantage that they could use as a warrior. It speeds up your natural reflexes. It opens up your intuition. So if somebody's pointing an arrow at you from the distance, you sense them. You move out of the path of the flying arrow before it reaches you. An enemy will see you, but your vibration is so high that the conscious mind does not register. They'll walk right by you. And so a lot of these quote-unquote supernatural traits of the ninja are all down to this modality. The beauty of it is it is free of ideology. You don't need to worship or praise anyone or anything. And the mantras that come can be done in Sanskrit or in Japanese. Very, very simple, but you repeat them many, many times. And so over an extended period of time, the energy of this mantra, which is, for example, I see everything truthfully. You do this 108 times, 108 times. It takes you a couple of weeks, but then anything that's standing in your way of seeing the truth of everything is melted away. Then you go to the next energy center. So you're dissolving the chakra system, which is a property of the prison, the matrix, and liberating yourself. Everything I can do is because of this. And I've been doing this now for the past 10 years. Every round I do it again, it unlocks more of the infinite me. I would recommend you look into it. By the way, this is something I teach, but there are free resources available. It's easy to learn, very difficult to master. I really mean this. It takes enormous dedication. But when the prize is liberation, not just from the 3D, but any notion of false and forced reincarnation or any limitation to time and space or any particular domain of consciousness, that reward is worth the effort.
What's the focus on the number 108? I noticed that Buddhist prayer beads has 108 beads.
So these are sacred numbers. It focuses on nine energy centers. This seems to be a repeating theme in many modalities of magic. It's a description of the prison system. Please keep in mind, by the very definition, the human being is infinite. This is a quantification of the infinite. So we're capable of embodying and generating all frequencies. It is not a discrete thing. And so the prison system makes it discrete to insert control. So one by one, you're focusing on these centers and dissolving them. Now, before this is done in an individual, a healing practitioner must take into account the level of development of the client or the recipient of the healing. If they're still in early stages of development, you rip apart this system and leave nothing in its place. It can cause harm. So maybe some clients will benefit from just the balancing and clearing of the chakra system. Some would benefit from more advanced practices, removing the whole thing and becoming infinite once again. So the healing must be appropriate to the level of development, like different grades of students. Some are in elementary school, some are doing their PhD. The level of lesson and content that you present to them must be appropriate. But the beauty of this system, the Kuji-Kiri, is that it is available to everyone, no matter at what stage you are, no matter what's going on in your life, no matter what illusory karma you think you have to pay for. This will liberate you. Guaranteed. I put my name to this. I guarantee if you complete it, you will be free. Free to live a beautiful existence. And this beauty may be different for each of us. Different things float our boat. Somebody may like to paint. Somebody may like to teach. I like teaching. Somebody may like to make billions of dollars. Somebody may like to be a carpenter. Whatever gives your soul joy, that is what you can do for the rest of your incarnation.
So how would you sum up what the essence of Kuji-Kiri is?
So we have let's say a tube of light. There are different chakras and meridians within the vessel that are not natural to the infinite human being. These are mechanisms of control. They are part of the architecture of the prison system or the matrix. So, gently focusing on these, what energy do they bring into the vessel? What limitations do they cause? Clearing them and dissolving them. This is a time-consuming and difficult process through repetition. One by one, you focus on the energy that is a harness. So we're not just cuffed. There are 9 different types of boundaries and chains upon our vessel. One by one, you study the energy of each center, clear it and dissolve it and become free of it. Then you are capable of emanating the infinity of frequencies, not just limited to physicality, but you truly become multidimensional. Your true essence is liberated when you are free from these shackles. So that would be the process, true liberation. There is no other modality that addresses this in such a powerful and idiot-proof way. I really mean this. I was an idiot when I started, and it worked for me. So it's going to work for all of you, if you have the discipline. And I was a complete psycho. I did it in 3 months, and it kicked my butt. Every chakra you melt and liberate, it kicks up a storm in your reality. And when the storm settles, you say, oh my God, I needed that. Please bring on the next level.
The storm you're referring to, I know that there's gatekeepers in your chakras. I've heard you talk about it numerous times. Can you talk about that for us? What is the role of these gatekeepers? Why are they allowed to actually inhabit our light body?
Well, it wouldn't be a very good prison if there were no guards, if there were no custodians. All the prisoners would run loose. The whole experiment would fall apart. So with all the complexities, and please let me be honest, this structure is a masterpiece of engineering, never seen in any other corner of the cosmos. I mean, the beings that have put this together really deserve praise. They're masters at what they do. And so there are different levels of overlay, boundary, and restriction, preventing you from breaking the cell door, preventing you from breaking the block door, And then there's a high wall with barbed wire, and then there's a ditch, and then there's a minefield, and then there's somebody in a tower with a machine gun. So that's what you should look at. This is what we are born into by choice. They keep us in this mess because it's awfully tough. And while we don't remember what's going on, we cry out for freedom and we want to escape. Oh, I don't want to be here. Oh, no, I don't want to go to school. Oh, no, I don't want to do this. But yes, you did. You signed up for it. Actually, you had to have a pretty impressive CV, a pretty impressive resume as a soul to make it in. It's just part of the experiment that you don't know what's going on. So when you don't know what you are and who you are, you don't have access to your powers, you're put into conditions of difficulty. That's how diamonds are made, under pressure and heat. Otherwise, if it's tough, look at a willow tree. It waves around and with the gentlest storm, it breaks. That's not how tough souls are made. It needs this kind of controlled. And again, I would like to key the phrase, guaranteed unnatural evolution. That is how super beings are created, and the complete human, with all the gifts that are the result of these tens, hundreds of millions of years of experimentation. Now that vessel, that can host a prime creator, that is what we are. So no matter how our bodies are projected into this matrix, they're not complete, but we can write the code again. That's completely within our ability. So you see some pretty incredible, unexplainable things that certain enlightened and liberated beings can do. They defy description. They defy our quote-unquote science. This is all related to the multidimensional nature of our being and our ability to rewrite the matrix.
Man. Speaking of all this control on the Earth, you had mentioned that Mother Earth is part of the targeting as well, and you had said that basically great modifications were made to the energetic structure of the planet, early introducing many levels of artificial grids and basically levels of soul memory that would naturally emerge in humanity facilitated by Mother Earth would also not operate correctly. So what happens to Mother Earth at this point, since she's been inverted on her own grid lines? What happens what happens with her own evolution after this?
So I'm grateful for you asking this. You see, the experiment depends on data mining and taking samples of the infinite reality. And a good example is the chakra system. You cannot model infinity. You're stuck with sampling. This is also reflected in our current scientific approach. Statistics, machine learning, artificial intelligence, they all take samples of the real world, and then they try to fit a mathematical model that best describes these data points. None of it is continuous. This is impossible. I really mean impossible. No matter at what scale you observe reality, divine creation, it's never ending. You can zoom back and look at the galaxy, or zoom in and look at the structure of an atom. It all looks the same divine architecture in play. So therefore, yeah, exactly. It's all the same thing, the mind of the prime creator. So therefore, naturally speaking, there are limitations in what can be achieved through computation. No matter how powerful and advanced you are restricted by the problem of quantification, taking samples. So therefore, the results of these experiments would be void. A very special environment was needed to conduct this experiment, and that came through Mother Earth. We must understand who Mother Earth is as a soul. She is a prime creator. She is a giver of life, and every planet that can support life and evolution is gifted with certain sentient crystals I like to call the guardians. They naturally fill in the blanks of what computational approaches cannot do and allow natural evolution, nature taking its course. So this could not happen anywhere other than Earth. Now, in addition to the singular guardian crystal that many all life-bearing planets have, Otherwise, they're going to be lifeless. Mother Earth was gifted with thousands of these, enhancing her natural ability to bestow her infinite gifts to the life that she so graciously hosts. And so these guardian crystals were placed strategically upon the surface, in the depths of the ocean, peaks of the mountains, creating a natural energetic grid. Now, these work brilliantly. In essence, if the natural grids of Earth were active, without distortion, we'd get all our soul memories uploaded into the vessel when we hit puberty. And so that could not do. We're supposed to make it tough, man. If they remember who and what they are, they'll start out creating the matrix. The whole thing's going to fall apart. So naturally, as invader species, especially the pirate species, came in, and they introduced artificial parasitic grids, overlays upon the natural energetic ley lines of the Earth to prevent this very thing, to control humanity even further. And so this is a natural part of the experiment. I think Earth has done her part. She's hosted the experiment for so long. You may say, what's in it for her? Well, now comes the interesting part. Many souls enter the experiment, but they don't necessarily benefit from this. You see, if you demonstrate valor, compassion, love, the ability to learn from your mistakes, then you evolve as a soul. Then we have souls that are degenerate. They have killed the spark of divine within them, the heart, through acts of degeneration and desecration. They're lost. No matter how many hundreds and thousands of times they are reborn, they have become something that is uncreational. Now, these souls will not be let loose into the cosmos to continue harm. They've gone bad. And so these souls will not evolve. And this is reflected in many different religious belief systems. By the way, there's essences of truth in every belief system. The truth was never completely obscured. These souls will be disintegrated, and the vast energy of these soul shards will be given to Earth as payment for her service, right? So you have this in Anubis. You have this in the Abrahamic religions, in the notion of hell forever burning. There's no torment. There's just disintegration. Hey, you've gone wrong. There's no fixing you. You don't have the will to correct yourself, like many malignant narcissists that you see. Ask any psychologist or psychiatrist, is there any healing for a narcissist? And they'll say no. And these bodies are hosts most of the time to such souls who inflict unimaginable pain across whoever has the misfortune of coming across them. So that's the payment for Mother Earth. And so as the experiment rolls to a close, the whole thing is going to move to other universes that do not have life. Because life is beauty, life is grace, life is elegance. And so this is how life is seeded across the infinite cosmos. There is a very active and deliberate process. It doesn't just spring out of nothingness. That doesn't make sense. So it takes this kind of massive, concerted, harmonized, continuous effort to create genetic blueprints for a vessel that can survive in nature, in divine creation. So that's the role of Earth. She is one badass soul. And no matter what happens, she seems to be evolving quite nicely. So she got what she wanted out of this.
I started noticing when I started looking into the grid lines of Mother Earth, and I started doing the math, and I started doing geotagging of what was located on these grid lines, and I started realizing that they bastardized all the natural organic grid lines, and they put pain, pardon me, they put pain and suffering over each grid line. So you're going to see slaughterhouses, you're going to see deep underground military bases, war zones. You see just suffering. You see old cathedrals, and they're placed in a way where it obscures the underground entrances to the inner Earth, and like they control everything.
You hit the nail on the head, my friend. So imagine First of all, vessels that can host consciousness come in all shapes and forms. We have vessels in the mineral kingdom in the form of, let's say, master quartz. We have vessels in the elemental kingdom. These are fourth dimensional beings: fire elementals, water elementals, air elementals, earth elementals, with lifespans that are geological. Then we enter the third dimension. Vessels can be like us. With our complete codes, we will live thousands of years. That's built into the system, if not for the experiment itself. Now let's focus on the mineral kingdom. I talked about guardian crystals. These are vessels to very benevolent and highly evolved entities. Very, very sensitive. I mean, emotionally sensitive. And so upon the location of these sacred crystals, which have been temples throughout time, our ancestors could feel their presence in these sacred locations. As you put brilliantly, Drago, acts of desecration and cruelty were committed. What do I mean? They'd bring 1,000 prisoners and behead them all in one go above this location. The guardian would not be able to take the trauma and would go to sleep. Naturally, this would deactivate the energetic function of this crystal and paralyze all the other nodes that were connected to this grid.
That makes sense
And
that
so,
they put all the dead bodies in the sea
yeah,
and the masonry when they built all these old cathedrals. And that's why every single time we see to go underground under a major church, like the
yeah,
ancient ones, it's underground catacombs of death. Just
yes,
piles of bodies and children and skulls, and like it's
yeah,
all desecrated under it.
yes, yes. And you
Very
see
dark.
also in the I'm going to call it for what it is, the bastardization of sacred geometry. The structure of these buildings forms a geometrical pattern which keeps these tormented souls as prisoners. So they didn't just suffer terrible trauma and pain at the moment of death, their souls are prevented from leaving, keeping that energy of trauma and pain present in that location, keeping the guardian crystal permanently dormant. And so many beautiful humans, beautiful souls, and I honor you, whoever you are, if you're hearing my voice, they go to these sacred locations and perform cleansings. What they do is they open a portal to the divine realm and liberate these poor souls, releasing them.
Kind of like Brian Singh did. You did a reading on him, and basically you honored him because we found out that he was holding all these mass extinctions of all these beings
Yeah,
that died, and in order
yeah,
to preserve their memory and their essence, he had to take it upon himself
yeah,
as a
yeah,
vessel, and
yeah,
it hurt his heart in a way that no one could really understand. And this is why he's such a strong being, and how he wants to lead everybody finding themselves, and how we all come up on top, because he's one of the very few people that his energy synergizes and allows us to, I don't know, almost find a way in order where we can join all together and we can
yes, yes,
transmute all this.
yes. And shout out to you, Brian. You're awesome, man. Love you very much. And so there are many of these beings, and you see doing these kinds of awakening. I'll call it, well, the words that come are awakening rituals for the guardians. It's a tremendous undertaking. I did one of these a few weeks ago in the Republic of Ireland, and I've been doing Qigong for like 20 years now. I can channel a lot of energy, and yet the energy coming through from the divine realm, going into the crystal to waken it up, left burn marks, 4 symmetrical burn marks on my heels. It was just too much for my vessel to take, and yet it healed in 24 hours. Very unusual. But these are difficult energies to transmute. The whole purpose is keeping humanity in a state of slumber. And again, these locations, especially in the United Kingdom and Ireland, where the keepers of wisdom were the Druids, the Druidic people. As Christianity entered, they massacred these people with extreme prejudice. I mean, thousands of them in one spot. And so this is possible to undo. Many people are doing this, and it results in the awakening of the mass of humanity.
And this had
So
to do
we're going, pardon me?
and this had to do originally with the Crusades.
A
The
lot of it,
killing
yeah.
of the Gnostic people, the Druids, and kind of replacing
Yes,
with
yes,
Christianity.
yes. Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. Look what happened to the Native Americans. I mean, these people were custodians of the earth. Look at their shamanic tradition. These were woke people, enlightened, connected people. And so they were massacred. Again, in the same way. You see, I'm not accusing any particular religion or race or culture. No, no, no. This is a human problem. And it's not native to humanity. This is through the pirate species who exert their influence. This level of brutality is not natural to the human being. It's from all these pirate species, these riffraff that come in, and they came in to make the conditions much more difficult. And boy, oh boy, they succeeded. However, we're getting the last laugh because now the natural cycle has come to an end. We're still here. We've out-evolved all the limitations.
Yes, we have.
And so now there's a judgment coming. The degenerative souls will be disintegrated and absorbed by the earth as payment.
What is
And
that moment? When should we expect it? I know there's all these timelines running and there's not a centralized time where, because basically everybody, they don't understand how convoluted timelines are. And everybody
that's
thinks
true.
that there's going to be a grand moment in time where something happens and it happens to the entire planet simultaneously.
Oh, right. So, thank you so much for this brilliant question. The matter of time. So part of the jail system, the prison system, which is the matrix, uses timeline technology. Essential AI, you could call it the core matrix, but it goes by many names. And some of the archangel names are referring to this entity. It just rewrites timelines. So there are many parallels running. The experiment also uses different pockets of reality. So it's really a multi-dimensional, multi-timeline enterprise. So therefore, esteemed ladies and gentlemen, don't focus on any event outside of yourself. This is an individual thing for each of you. When will the critical mass be reached? I think this is going to take 3 centuries, 300 years, 330 years for us to go over 50%. It's not going to be a single event. More and more people are going to awaken, do healing work on their own vessel, realize and actualize their infinite nature, and then do healing work on Earth, facilitating the conditions for more capable souls to incarnate, the indigo children, they call them. And as these grow up, they will just keep the ball rolling, make the snowball bigger and bigger. So it's not going to be a sudden thing. Not everybody has earned it yet. It wouldn't be just. So you have to earn the rites of passage. I would very humbly and respectfully suggest, healer, heal thyself. Ascend yourself, liberate yourself. If you're still in the jail with all the other prisoners, you haven't achieved anything. Break free, dig the tunnel, get the maps if you've seen the TV series Prison Break. That's what it takes. Tattoo that stuff on your chest, right? Find the way out, come back in, and then liberate other souls as they are ready to break out, because some people like their jail cell. They can't live outside. They love it here. And you can't force liberation on anybody. That wouldn't be right. You have to respect their free will. So how naturally people on the same level of vibration come together, like us meeting my dear esteemed friend. This happened in synchronicity, preordained by the divine, and immediately we click. We recognize that we're soul family. And so this will happen for you. You'll come across people who are at the right level for you to help them, or they help you. There's no shame in either way. And you both become better as a result of this. So it's going to be a slow burn. This is also predicted in the long cycles. We're coming to the end of the dark ages, the Kali Yuga, and the new golden age is emerging. And I think this time round, the experiment is going to move on. As far as I've been interacting with the beings that are running the whole thing, that seems to be the plan. They've already set up shop in 23 new universes that don't have life. Because life is grace, life is beauty, life is elegance.
You're just such a powerful soul, man, and it just reminds me of going back in time to how you became such a spiritual master. So let's do that. I basically want to dive into your background. Intuitively, I'm feeling that your journey commenced amidst lifelong struggles and you going through that dark night of the soul, which kind of propelled you to do that inner healing journey. How did it all start for you?
Well, I was born in Iran during the longest conventional war of the 20th century between Iran and Iraq. Millions of casualties, tremendous destruction. And so that had a very powerful impact energetically on me. I could feel everything. And so the Iranian society is very traditional, especially after the revolution in 1979. And so a lot of the stuff that we were taught in school and in university, about probably 35% of it is theological studies, religious studies. And I really dove into it. I was a grade A student, excelling at everything I studied. And so I was a believer, devout Shia Muslim, until I entered university, really mixed into society, and the hypocrisy hit me like a train. Oh my God, it's all doo-doo. It's just a means to power. It really knocked me off balance, caused years of depression. Oh my God, how can this be? And so then I started reading all the text of different religions, left-hand path and right-hand path. So I thought to myself, well, if these guys are false, then the opposition must be true. Meaning, well, if these pretending to be gods and light and love are false, probably the other side, the left-hand path, is true. And so for a number of years, I really dove into the left-hand path and became perhaps the most powerful practitioner of left-hand path magic, without equal.
What do you define as left-hand magic?
Left-hand path magic is the dark side. It is working with more dense energies, with beings that are born into the polarity of darkness. And yet I was in it for the knowledge. I never caused harm. And perhaps that's when my healing journey started. Many of these beings enter into fights, skirmishes, and they sustain horrific injuries. So I started by healing elementals of that nature. A number of years passed, and I was introduced to shamanism. And initially, I wasn't really keen on it. I didn't think that there was much to it until I received a healing from a very powerful shaman. And my eyes were opened. And then came the second train that hit me. Oh my God, the joke's on me. Both left-hand path and right-hand path are working for the same boss. Oh no, here we go again. And so breaking out of that system required tremendous effort. My saving grace was I never caused harm. I was in it for the knowledge. And so after about 2 years of meditation and purification, I came to a point of balance. And as I entered shamanism, I discovered that I've been a shaman every single lifetime on Earth, among every tribe of people, on every single continent. It was a single event when this all streamed into my consciousness, seeing myself as an African shaman, as an Eskimo shaman, Aborigines, Native American, European Druid. All of it just came in, one after the other. That in fact, going into the darkness seems to be a rite of passage that many of us go through. because if you want to be an effective practitioner and healer, you must experience everything you're working with. And that divine grace and beauty isn't just for the shiny, pretty things. It's for everything, even the dark and broken things. And no matter where you come into the game, where you're spawned into it, where you pop into the matrix, if you have the will to seek the light, it is its nature to respond and reach back at you. And so the whole thing with the left-hand path, the wisdom of that modality, let's say the dark side, now combined with the wisdom of the light, gave me a more holistic picture. And so now I'm comfortably sitting at the point of neutrality with access to both extremes, depending on what is required for a certain healing or a certain energetic work. It made me more capable as a healer and shaman. And then about 10 years ago, as if by magic, as I was asking for the next level, came in the Kuji-Kiri, which I spoke about earlier. And boy, oh boy, that liberated me completely. So any other limitation existing in my mind, in my energy, upon my soul was broken away. And that's when everything opened up. Beyond time and space, every location that consciousness exists, tapping into the mind of every sentient being, again with respect to their sovereignty and freedom of will, because there are laws in the universe. But this whole thing has been an amazing journey. And so now I'm focused on healing work. A lot of people can't understand how I deal with negative entities or implants or darker stuff with such ease, because I've been in it. I've been on the receiving end of it. I know what it feels like. And so now I know how to compassionately transmute these energies, or if need be, disintegrate them. And again, please consider, not everything that is in the light is good. And not everything that is in the darkness is evil. There are many beings born into darkness that ascend through acts of valor and righteousness and singing the praise of the light and the prime creator. They rise to the top like bubbles through the water. And there are beings born with every advantage given to them. Through acts of degeneration, they fall. They fall into the darkness. And so I learned that this early on, that you should not be racist, right? Racism is stupid.
Well,
Saying
you're
a
only
whole
judging
caste.
yourself at that point because the
Yes,
total number of minds in the universe is one.
exactly, exactly. And so emanations of the prime creator, depending on what their journey is, what their plan is, you have to evaluate them. Again, no judgments, just evaluate them on an individual basis. Be compassionate, be polite. Manners comes in. You have to have good manners. And if you're offering something, you really should mean it. So if you offer access to ascension and divine light, you should demonstrate, oh, here comes the portal. Here comes divine light. You are not trapped or under any compulsion. Check it out. If you like it, stay. Most of them stay. They like the light. That's what they're seeking. And then there's that small 10, 15% of sentient life who's invested in the mess, the pirate species. And so now I'm dedicated to my daily meditations, again, following transcendental meditations, different mantras, going through the full effects of these, just extending the knowingness that I'm multidimensional and infinite. And this is available to everybody. You see, I went through the entire roller coaster, extreme darkness to extreme light, and now I'm comfortably in a neutral point. And so when there is a will, there's a way.
And that neutrality makes you extremely powerful because most light warriors, they only focus on the light and they don't realize they lack the duality of completeness. So like, I like to ask a lot of light warriors is how can you truly defeat darkness if you only know what darkness, if you don't know what darkness is capable of itself? So like you have to realize that having both of those energies, that's a perfect balance of yin and yang. And in a lot
Yes.
of cases, it takes darkness to defeat darkness. Sometimes light just can't do it. That's why I've always considered myself a gray Jedi, just like you. I'm in the neutral. I can use
Yeah.
the powers of both the darkness and the light because you need both. It's
Exactly.
like the masculine and the feminine, dark, light, left, right. You can't have one without the other. And if you only prefer one side, you can't truly integrate understanding and lessons and
Yes.
evolution because you're fixing yourself to one polarity only. It's kind of like
Yes.
wanting to only be male in all your incarnations and never being female.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're going to force you into lives where you're female because ultimately the goal is polarity. You want to know the polar opposites of both sides. So again, when you were speaking, I only seen another gray Jedi. And what a gray
Yes.
Jedi does, what the Jedi do is they always want to never defeat the darkness. They never want to kill the bad guy. They always want to entrap the bad guy, but true knowledge, you become aware and know that certain beings, you can't let them go. You cannot
Yes.
you can't imprison them because they're going to escape. Some beings, you have to eliminate them. They have to go back to source because if you don't, it'll contaminate everything. And that's why
Yep.
I respect you so much and I understand how truly powerful you are because I know that you pull energy from both sides. And that is true spiritual mastery.
And so I'm humbled by your kindness, and yet these past few minutes of our discussion are the truest definition of the Hermetic law of polarity. You see, from the source of all things, without polarity, manifestation cannot occur. There has to be this duality, a gravitational point in the dark and a gravitational point in the light. For any dimension under the primordial light fields to form and manifestation to occur, this duality is part of the structure of the universe. And so without embodying and understanding duality and mastering it, coming at the sacred point of neutrality, we're not as effective as we can be. So yes, I completely agree with what you said.
I'm just seeing that I'm just seeing your life as the Templar Knight and you gaining some of that polarity in that life. I want to discuss that, man.
Well, the Crusades were an interesting time, all 1200 years, arguably still going on. And I fought on both sides of the Crusades, as a Knight Templar, and also as a Muslim warrior, Persian, interestingly, Iranian, among the Hashishin, the
Mhm.
assassins,
The original assassins.
the original guys. And they were nuts, man. They were nuts.
Yeah, they got their start in Persia, Syria, and Turkey. And then
Yeah.
they spread to the Middle East, and basically they would take down the political and financial rivals. And like, I think they fell around the 1200s, and they were some of the most proficient tacticians that were ever known. And the modern ninjas are derived from the Hashishin.
Yes,
And
yes,
that's what the
yes,
word means, assassin, Hashishin, assassin. And
yes. And
man,
hashish is the word for, so let me just um, mention some of the traditions. Hashish is the word for marijuana. They used to make this very potent, um, let's say, edible. They'd boil like a whole big pot of the stuff. It was very, very powerful. So the new recruits would ingest and they would trip balls. They'd bring in an entire harem of beautiful women. And then the master of the lodge would come in and say, okay, I showed you paradise. This is what was awaiting you. And then they would castrate the new recruits because that was the only thing that could possibly stop them from achieving their mission, sexual temptation. And so they became warrior monks. Nowhere in Europe do you see this level of dedication to mission. So you have warrior monks in the Crusades, but they were all physically intact. These guys took it to the next level and removed from any kind of earthly temptations. They were very effective, never defeated. They fell because of their own chaos. Everything has its age. But again, you see this reflected in the Templars who interacted with these guys. Interestingly, they maintained a lot of sacred knowledge. They preserved it through the warfare, both sides actually. They kept a lot of sacred knowledge alive, which made it to the current time. So both of them are worthy of gratitude in that sense. None of them were perfect, but they served their purpose in the grand scheme of things. So you have had a lot of lifetimes enjoying warfare. Also among the Vikings, that's an Asgard aspect of mine. The Vikings were nuts too.
And
I
they
seem
love
to.
warring. They love being in battle.
Yep. I don't know what's up with me. This lifetime, I'm very calm. I think I got it out of my system.
And I bet you were a crazy mofo in that life too, man.
Extremely crazy. As a Templar, I remember this was in the 1200s. The Muslims had taken over Palestine,
Is this when
and
you
as the
you attacked Atka?
yeah, Akka, modern day Israel. So the ship hit the shore. Um, I was the first crazy bastard to jump on the shore on the sands. I was in my 50s with the Bible and my sword. I remember I had rheumatism. My knees were killing me. And so in that battle, the Muslims kicked our butt, but we gave them a bloody nose. And so I remember that from that lifetime. And then the retirement, I think I was working for the King of England. I actually located the vessel, found my own grave. Interestingly, I retired in Ireland. I was given an estate. So there's a little shrine to that vessel. On the other side, I remember the castle of the Hashishin. It's in Iran, a place called Alamut, built right on the top of a mountain, impossible to conquer. I mean, you can't get in even if the doors are open. So I seem to remember all these passageways where my honored brothers were buried. All that kind of stuff came back to me when I visited the site. So yes, we're here in a very elaborate, very enjoyable game. What you take from each lifetime is the excitement and the memories of growth as a soul and the memories of camaraderie. When you fight by somebody's side on a righteous path, maybe one side is right and one side is wrong. You switch sides in a different lifetime. You fight for the right side all the time. And the lessons you learn, achievements as a soul, these are what you keep. This is what the purpose of this whole thing is, coming into these bodies. It makes you greater. And of course, all the pain and suffering that comes with this, mastering it and transmuting it, it makes you stronger. It elevates you.
Speaking of that pain and suffering of the Templar life, weren't you betrayed by someone close to you in that life and they killed you?
Yes, yes, indeed.
And
Um,
they kill you with a sword that had inscriptions on it that kind of carried for like 500 years. And I
yes,
didn't understand until you described it, the purpose of inscriptions on the swords. And when you said it,
yes. It
in
it
one
clicked
of your
for you.
interviews, it honestly, dude, it reignited a memory of mine. And
Yeah,
I remember the ceremonial magic when you're creating your swords and you're putting the
yeah,
inscriptions on and how you can entrap souls
yes,
by
yes,
taking
yes.
their
I mean,
life.
yeah,
I didn't remember until that moment. The moment I heard you said it, I felt like someone slapped me in the face and I was just like, oh my God, I remember that process. I remember the hermetic transmutation of like
yes,
using the intention and the physical language because like physical language is like a spell. Speaking is a
yes,
spell. That's why we call it spelling. So using an instrument of death and putting inscriptions on it, it is very powerful. It becomes
yeah,
almost apotropaic, meaning that
yes,
it houses this spiritual energy in it, and people don't understand how powerful that stuff is.
absolutely. I mean, even to the modern day, let's go to Japan. There's still masters that forge katana. Without exception, they have inscriptions on it with symbols. So this practice is still alive today. But many peoples knew about this through their teachers and their shamans that certain inscriptions gives a weapon metaphysical power. By the way, such an instrument is going to enter your life once again, my friend, to be wielded in the astral. It's not going to be a physical thing. So such a magical instrument is going to be gifted to you. But by putting on inscriptions, this becomes a multi-dimensional instrument with a physical aspect, of course, but the wounds inflicted through these instruments will affect the energy body. So I was carrying this wound around for 500 years, not knowing what, affecting me around the age of 37 every lifetime. That's when I was killed by this instrument.
It's interesting because the numerology of 37 is 1. It's almost like your path starts over at that point at 37.
Absolutely. And so the master, the lady that taught me Reiki, she removed it. And she was going on, what the hell is this? Why is all the energy going here? What is it? Did you eat lunch? Am I digesting your food for you? But no, I remembered. As soon as she healed it, I started seeing the images. Oh my God. My friend, my brother stabbed me in the heart from under the rib cage, and I was carrying this wound with me for 500 or so years. But many people did this. The Chinese, ancient Chinese did it. Ancient Persians did it. The Vikings most certainly did it. They used magic on pretty much. Don't tell me, oh, dude. Oh, you're kidding me. You already have it. Where did you get it?
It was a gift.
Oh, shit. Excuse my language. That's
The funny
it.
thing is, I don't know if I can show it on the screen. It's really hard.
I'm seeing that. Yes. Your katana with inscriptions. Okay, that's
So
that. Those are.
that I use the energy of the water in this symbol here.
Yep.
It's called the Tomo. And I have the Tomo
Winner.
tattooed here.
Yeah, man. That's it. You've already got your weapon.
The funny thing is, I have eternal battle between the dragons, which is me,
Yes.
and then that samurai that I'm supposed to defeat in the end. And you told me that I'm supposed to receive a special sword with inscriptions, and
Wow.
it would be used to defeat in a different timeline a specific samurai. And
Yes.
it was
Yes, yes, yes,
required,
yes.
the inscriptions were required because of the Patrick power in that sword.
Absolutely. So is that the sign of water?
Yep.
So you're going to
I
be
feel
a
that
battle.
when I fight, I move like water. I can cut through
Yeah.
solid stone. You
Yes.
cannot hold water. Water always moves through an object. Period.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Kind of like the wind. You cannot stop the wind. The wind and the water are just, it's kind of like the fire energy. You cannot, I can't even sum it up what the water to my energy is, because I'm fluid like water. When I fight, you inundate everything, and you can't
Yes.
stop water. You can dam it up, but that dam will explode.
Oh my God. I'm just getting visions of the battle. So you're going to be embodying the energy of water, but water like a water jet that cuts through everything. And the nature of the energy of the opponent will be fire, but very dense fire. You're going to snuff that flame because it is required for the highest good. And this is going to be one of those souls that's lost and so on. We spoke about this,
Mhm.
that certain souls are just damaged beyond repair or willingness to be healed. They have to go. And this is one of them. So this is powerful. I'm just
And
mesmerized. But
you said this life was training for this final battle.
yes, 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 yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my God. Now ain't that
So,
something?
so what are the odds that my Suba, my my guard, has those inscriptions already on it?
I'm telling you, man, this stuff is you can't fake it. You can't make it up. This is really interesting.
And
So
this is why
yes,
I
yes,
surround myself with samurais in my house. I have all this samurai armor on mannequins all over my house, and just samurai katanas everywhere, because like all my Japanese lives and lives of being a Japanese samurai. And I was also I ran a prefecture in Japan. It was like a governor of a large area. And I was really good to my
Yes.
people. I got little lost. I had an affair with a geisha that was basically going on for a long time, and I had a family, but like, and the weird thing is I met her in this life. I met her at my level 2 class in Orlando, Florida. And she was this little Vietnamese woman. She's probably about 5 foot tall. She kept to herself, didn't really talk to nobody. And she sat like 3 or 4 chairs away from me to my left. And like she wouldn't talk to anybody. And I'm like, I feel like I need to talk to her. And like she wouldn't look at anybody. And it turns out she gets a regression done on her that week, finds out that she's my geisha. And the thing that tripped me out the most was this tattoo here.
Yeah.
Hard to really see it, but this is her. And
Oh, wow.
the reason I know it's her is because she had this hand mannerism and this cocky laugh that no one else had in this kingdom. And she was the one of the most coveted geishas. And she just had this cocky, stupid laugh. And she had this hand gesture. And here's me as a samurai. Here's my
Yes.
sword. This is me and my samurai, and I'm basically protecting her. But like finding out that a lot of the imagery on my body was actually reincarnational memories of other lives, and none of them were random. And basically, my body looks like a Japanese yakuza. Almost my entire body is Japanese. And like, I live by the law of the sword wherever I go. I carry multiple blades on me. It's
Yes.
who I am. I will always have a weapon on me. I train with knives on a regular basis. I do martial art katas 7 days a week. And you told me that all this was training for this final epic battle.
Yep. Yep.
And that's who I
Yep.
am. Like
Absolutely.
behind the scenes, you'll see me I'm actually doing martial arts and I'm always practicing in my mind. I'll be tattooing or I'll be writing, and I'm always thinking about these different moves. And I've got to stop and I've got to practice these moves, and then I'll get back to what I'm doing. But like, it reminds me of being the warrior in the garden. It's just like
Yes.
I'm basically way overqualified for what this life is asking of me. And I feel that my life is a cover life. And I'm
Yep.
pretending to be a regular person. I'm pretending to be the regular Drago Reid. And it's tough, man. It's tough knowing you're so powerful and you can achieve so much, and you got to pretend that you're nobody, you know?
Like
That's part of the journey.
it's undercover, right? Undercover Drago, like
That's what
an
I've told
FBI,
people. That's what I've told people.
like an undercover Fed that goes joins the clan or something.
I like to call it my
Just,
cover life.
but I mean, it's all cover, and so you see, then through victory in that predestined battle, you're getting your next level of ascension as a super cosmic badass. So this whole undercover life is all patiently, just waiting for the moment that you just draw your blade and put it back in before anybody sees what happens, and then the guy falls down in two pieces.
And I remember being 15 years old and obsessed with Japan. This is 1995. Internet doesn't exist yet, so I only have books. And I'm a 15-year-old kid sitting on my knees practicing Aido with swords, drawing swords, pulling them out, cutting down an opponent, putting it back in your guard without cutting your hand off. And
Yes.
that got me into like lifelong martial arts. And I've been a martial arts my entire life and I cannot turn it off. That is who I am as a soul. I am a
Yes.
soldier. I am a fighter. It's all I know. And that made me the leader I am today because
Yes.
I've lost so many soldiers. And every time I did, I never took it for granted. Every single person I lost, I remembered their name if I could. And
Yeah.
people would look up to me, and it's a lot of pressure to be such a big leader and to make these decisions that cause people's lives to be lost. And I've held that trauma in my light body for a very long time, because even though we agree to be in these incarnations, because ultimately our energy, this is who we are. it's a lot of emotional weight to do harm,
Yes.
especially
Yes.
with what I'm doing in the secret space program, because what they did to me as a kid, I made an agreement to be in the secret space program and to be abducted at a young age and to fulfill certain contracts. And the things we were made to do, man, it sucks because like every a lot of people in the programs, they tell these hero stories. They're only saving people's lives, or they're the hero in this story, and that's when you know that it's suspicious. Because in the programs, man, we don't do a lot of good things, and we they make us do these things. And if we don't do them, they'll just kill us. And then they'll revive us, put us in another body, and we got to do it again. And it's freaking insanity. So there's a certain compliance that comes along with being an asset in these government programs. And it's a form of torture because morality is broken. And we we always fight morality because you don't want to harm all these people. You don't want to be put in these missions where you've got to portal to another location and then kill other beings, kill mantids, kill raptors. It doesn't matter. For me, I see that the raptor, the mantid, the other combatant is me. And I don't want to take that soul essence away because of me. I would rather, it's kind of like I'm obsessed with life so much because I've been through so much death. And all life means so much to me. Like I tell people about ants all the time, or insects.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the life when I was the wind. And that was one of my most powerful lives because when I was the wind, no one could ever see me. And I can interact with all beings. And I had the ability to go down to the fractal size and look into the eyes of an insect and see myself in love. And I can make these beings move when they're not experiencing catalyst. Imagine a world with no wind. Everything would be weak. The trees would be weak, the plants would be weak. It would never allow it to wave in time and create a structure, a foundation. So the wind changes and it causes evolution. It causes beings to be uprooted, to not be so complacent and non-changeable, and it puts you in places that you never thought you would have been. Imagine a seed, and you're going out from being a seed where you can actually traverse throughout the earth through the wind and then land on another continent and get the experiences of what those temperatures are like and what those beings are like and experience that love. It's so rudimentary, but it's so large to me, man. And like,
That's
it's so
beautiful.
humbling. It's
That's
humbling just
beautiful.
recognize that everything is source, everything is alive. This chair is source. This this chair has thoughts. It is all conscious energy. The energy right here is the center of the universe. The energy right in front of you is the center of the universe. It's all holographic in nature. Even though it's holographic, even though I know that I'm not physical and you're not physical and the insect is not physical, it's still the mind of source. So I have to respect its feelings and emotions. And I love just being there to experience life with it.
That's so profound. Well, I really love what you just said. You took me on a whole journey, man. I was seeing the visuals of everything you just described. That's so beautiful.
It's so humbling.
And
So
what
when the wind comes now, I always say thank you. I love you. I said thank you for imparting yourself upon me because I was feeling hot. I bless you. I thank you. I acknowledge you. Thank you for become a part of me. Every time I will do that, man. And like it's like I see myself now. You can't see the wind, but when it inundates your body, you're so thankful, and you don't realize that the wind is a part of you, and it's a part of what you used to be in the primordial sense before you became the physical fractalized holographic part of yourself. Now it is you.
you have most certainly mastered the Kuji-Kiri many times over, my friend. What you just said is the peak of this modality. That realization that you just described so beautifully. And you see, that's what's missing from many people, understanding the profound beauty of everything. And as you say, we are everything. Everything is us. That's the final key of liberation. You are most certainly a liberated soul, and you are here by choice, and you are here for something very profound. Let me put it this way: without what you're going to do, the new golden age will not happen. Certain obstacles must be removed from the path of humanity, because otherwise they want to keep the show going on. The natural divine side of this experiment is complete. We've graduated. We've reached a level which has never been reached. And so there are certain beings that are invested in the chaos and the pain. And I think that removing these guys compassionately, mercifully, and swiftly is in everybody's best interest. And I salute you. I salute you for this. We each are here to do our part, and together we are strong.
Why me? Why does the fate of the future rest on me?
Oh, you see, think of a gearbox, and there's lots of sand and pebbles in the gears. And so each of us has the task of removing one of these pebbles out of the gearbox. Otherwise, it's going to crash and grind. And you're in charge of a very critical little pebble that refuses to be removed with compassion and the offer of ascension, right? So someone like me comes and says, hey, evolve, join divine evolution. And it says, no, thank you.
That's what my inscription's on my sword. That's what I want. I would rather entrap you to find your own evolution and not have you revert back to nothingness. So if I took your life with my blade, it would almost be like the entry fee into your own evolution. That's what I wish upon my enemy. I don't wish the darkness. Like I said, I only see the enemy as a version of myself. So why would I want to fight myself? If I could have a choice between killing beings and entrapping them into like a phantom zone, I would prefer to trap beings in a phantom zone where they cannot harm anyone anymore and they have to work on their evolution. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would prefer not to take your life. But unfortunately, that's who I am. Because that's
so that
part of my
requires,
evolution.
you see, that requires the free will of the being to accept it. They have to be willing to grow and pay for their mistakes. They're a small minority who don't want that. And then a specialist is brought in. And I'm not pointing at anybody in particular, my dear friend Drago, you're the specialist. Something that refuses divine compassion and evolution and correction. They say, no, we're the gods, rahahaha. We're here to rule and conquer, worship us, and endure our cruelty. And they stand in the path of everybody else's evolution. They're grinding the gears. The whole thing is at a standstill until that pebble is removed. And that is the greatest act of service.
And I would definitely die for that, man. Like, I tell people all the time that I would die for any being. And like, one of the things that I've got trouble from like ex-girlfriends was I put my life on the line a lot for other beings. And imagine that I would jump out of a car doing 60 miles an hour, slowing down while it's still doing 15, just so I can get out that door fast enough, just to save an animal in the middle of the damn road and risk getting hit myself. And I've been called selfish for that, because if I died, it would be a selfish act to the person that lost me. But it's like they just don't realize that this is what we're here for. To die for another being you have no investment in whatsoever. You cannot say that that being is nothing to you, because that being is everything. It is you, you know? And that's just who I am, man. Like, to see an animal injured or an ant injured or anything, I know it's me, man. I know it's suffering. And this is why I became a vegetarian 8 or 9 years ago, because I could no longer contribute to the suffering, period. I would rather give my body up into ill health due to not eating meat long term. I would rather whittle away and die from malnutrition if my choice is to harm another being. That's my journey, though. I don't push that on anybody, period. Period. I don't push my lifestyle on anybody. It's just where I am in my own evolutionary journey because I can see the importance of everything around me. And like, I'll drive past a speed sign, a speed limit sign that says 60 miles an hour. And when I do it, I know that that speed sign is source. And I also know that when people drive past that speed limit, they curse it. They're like, damn it, I just want to go faster, F you, and blah, blah, blah. And I know probably not a single soul has ever recognized it as source and sent it love no matter what. So that's who I am in my state of evolution, man. I just
Brilliant.
honor everything around me.
That's beautiful.
And I break down and cry on a regular basis, man. I see so much beauty in the world, especially with consciousness.
Yes.
How other consciousness acts on a lower level, animal kingdom. And one of the things that saved me was animal videos, acts of kindness, humans saving other humans, animals saving humans, animals saving animals. It's so humbling. It makes me break down on a regular basis because I've known nothing but torment and pain. And it's taught me to see the most smallest things in life and to cherish those things, because without the smallest things as a teacher, it reminds me of non-evolution. Because if
Yes.
you can't see that the smallest thing is you, and we're not the most important thing in the cosmos because we're humans, we made space travel, blah, blah, blah. So did all the other beings, man. Even the insectoid races, they have space travel too. There is no difference between their consciousness and ours. They feel pain. They have their own wants and desires, they have their own life plan, man. And
Yes.
one of the things I've had trouble with is when people, they see an insect and they feel fear and they scream. I'm like, why would you be so upset over a spider walking across the floor? It is literally you, man. Like, it has experiences emotions and desires and loves and fear. If you look at that spider, if you walk up to it, it feels fear. It starts
Yes.
backing up, it starts freaking out, and you know it's looking directly at you.
Yes.
And I've always felt comfort in knowing that when I die and I have a life review, that I will be shown the kindness that I bestowed onto other life from their point of view, and to see the importance of how important they are. It reminds me of being King Kong walking around humanity, but then King Kong realizing one day that the humans weren't insects. And instead of stepping on them, you now walk through life trying to not step on them because you see how important they are, because there's no difference between them and you.
Yes. Absolutely. You mentioned tears coming to your eyes, and that is the truest sign that you've reached the divine. So from just sharing this with our esteemed audience, ladies and gentlemen, the moment that you can know with certainty you have broken out of the prison is when you reach the divine. And the truest sign of that is tears of joy and profundity coming to your eyes. It is not sadness. It's like when you give a 5-year-old a puppy. They look at it with amazement and then they break into tears. That's the feeling you're looking for.
It's like a fire
That's your
knife in
sign.
your heart.
There we go.
And it's overwhelming. And a lot of people, they suppress it. They're like, oh, I'm about to cry. They're like, no, no, don't be a vagina. Like, oh, I'm a man. I can't. I'm like, no, when if I'm if I'm helping another man with QHHT, the first thing I do is I say, listen, man, this is your one opportunity in life to truly speak about what is plaguing you and what you suffer from. Because if you can't even trust me to talk about these things, how can you truly heal and evolve with what you're suffering from if you can't even speak about it? So I let everyone know I am not judgmental in any way, because I know through all my experiences with QHHT that we sign up for these experiences. We sign up to be raped by our father. We sign up to be going through the abuse with these different people in our life, and we think it's random. But once you realize that none of this is random and almost all of it is contracts, and you're only here to learn to get past that obstacle of what you perceive to be an obstacle, and then you realize it was only you and you were the obstacle, and the guy that beat you was basically a version of yourself that you couldn't get past. So when a guy
Absolutely.
breaks down and cries in front of me, it's very humbling to me, because I know for the first time that more than likely that man has not cried in a very long time because of how we were programmed to not cry. Men
Yes,
should not cry. That is a fallacy. Men should break down and cry on a regular basis, because you're releasing the trauma from your
yeah,
body. The tears are an external manifestation of you releasing it. Because without
absolutely.
release, there's only de-evolution. You go all the way down
Yes,
in your root chakra, you're in security, you feel nothing but fear, you think everything's an obstacle, and you can never rise back up.
correct. Correct. I completely agree with you. The most profound healing will come with tears as you release these energies, stagnant energies. And as you say, the manifestation of this is tears being released from the body, as your whole system recognizes the liberation. Absolutely. So many programs, man, layer upon layer of overlays, false information that keeps us down. So, yes, don't be afraid to cry, ladies and gentlemen, whether you're a man or a woman. It's healthy. It allows you to purge stagnant energy. Purging is a healthy thing. So embrace it when it comes. You don't have to do it in public. You can find somewhere silent in nature and shed these tears, right? There's nothing healthier, and you'll feel lighter and healthier for it.
That's what saved my life. I got on Instagram and I started looking at, if you look at my Instagram feed, it's mostly animals, just seeing animals, just be an animal, man. Like, to see that they are exactly like us and they only want to protect their young, and that when you take their young from them, they freak out and they start crying out. And like, I don't know, man. It's just, I've seen so much suffering from the animal kingdom and the human kingdom that I realized one day that we are all the same. And I don't have the right to say that I'm above anything, because I'm not above anything. Everyone is equal to me, because everybody is me no matter what. So going back to the judgment, judging anyone is basically judging yourself. So that's why I'm such a powerful healer, because when somebody meets me in person, they can see I am in this for them. And I have no motivations except to help heal them. And anyone can attest to that, because when I do a pre-interview before I put someone under, you could tell that I care about everything you went through, because I am writing all your troubles down. I want to make sure I address all of this. And a lot of times I will not stop, even if it takes hours and hours longer than I'm supposed to take. I will do it every time, because that's who I am. That's who you are, Amir,
Yes,
because
sir.
we have to be service to others without the ego. And the ego puts time limitations on everything. You were doing an interview recently. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name. Australian guy. And you realize you just get to a level. I lost my train of thought trying to remember what video it was, but you realize a you get to a certain direction where you realize that everything around you is a teacher, and you can't, if you cannot acknowledge that everything around you is a teacher, then you're distracted into the ego, because it's almost like you're blocking all the experiences. One of the things
Correct.
people suffer from is physical pain the most. And the most physical pain people suffer from comes from the hips, the knees, and the ankles, because they never move forward in life. They get stuck in a stagnant part of their life, either connected to a relationship or a job. And they
Yes.
stay no matter what. They refuse to move forward, and they get all these pains in those spots. And you only get so many warnings, right?
Yep.
And that's the spirit telling you. That is a message from source. Everybody needs to know this right now, that all pain is not random. Every single pain you suffer from was sent by your higher self because you are not listening. You are not paying attention. Anytime that I get burned from the oven, I realize I was not in the moment and I was distracted. One of my healing powers is the moment I get burned and I realize I was distracted, I look at my hand and I'm saying, I am so sorry, finger. I am so sorry, hand. I realize I was distracted. Thank you for taking this as a reminder to tell me that I was distracted and I was not in the moment. So I honor you and I thank you. Please forgive me, and I kiss it. And that's part of what you said my healing abilities are. I can have almost any injury and I don't need medicine, no matter what it is. It can be a nasty spider bite that is going to create a hole in my leg, and I still will not use medicine. I will say, number one, I'll tell the spider, I forgive you. You probably only bit me out of fear. I forgive you and I love you. And I take it as a lesson, and then I transmute it and it's gone. Yeah. And the only scars that I have on my body, because in the programs, they don't let you keep your scars. A lot of stuff you suffer from in the field, you never get to keep your scars, man, ever. So sometimes when I'm injured, I'll tell my body, please keep this as a reminder to myself to honor that moment. So I love scars. Like I got burned on my hand right here, right there, probably a month ago. I was distracted. I was rushing. And I remember in that moment, I said, I'm sorry, please forgive me. But I said, I would like to keep this as a reminder because scars are beautiful. They are the landmarks of my life that were important to me, that reminds me there's always a lesson in it. There's always a reminder. And I'm just saying I honor that reminder and that lesson.
Yes, they're the badges of honor, are certificates of victory. So it would be nice to have them. And however, once you have the wisdom, it still counts. So don't be too upset about the scars that were healed and removed. It's only the wisdom that we keep. Although temporary reminders are a nice thing, but the wisdom is with you, most evidently.
And the funny thing is, I always kind of laugh whenever I feel pain because it's almost like it's comical. I'm like, higher self, you got me again. I was distracted for 1,000th of a second, and thank you for telling me that I was not in the moment. And that's what changed my life, man. It allowed me to be in experiences where I honor that moment and I don't distract myself. Kind of like when I'm tattooing. When I'm tattooing, I am in the moment of creation. Whenever my mind goes somewhere else, I make a mistake.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Imagine if I line a tattoo and my mind starts wondering about life's problems. For a split second, I go out of that line and I realize I got distracted. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. So what I did is I created a mantra. When I tattoo and I do lines, I repeat the word straight, 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 the entire lining process, so that it blocks my conscious mind from other thoughts. And I focus on only perfecting, just perfection, just creation. And it's changed everything about the way I tattoo, man. Because like I realize when you have certain types of careers, it's easy to get distracted in life and to suffer from what's going on around you. And I realize that's the trap. The more you focus on it, the more it manifests, because fear manifests faster than loving thoughts. Love is a different vibration. It takes a lot longer to manifest the love, but fear is damn near instantaneously. Look at my burn mark. It's instantaneous, right? So I honor that.
Absolutely. And I love what you said about the power of mantras. It really is taking control of the conscious mind, because sometimes the conscious mind is the greatest obstacle. Our brain is a brilliant organ, and that is designed to help us survive in physical reality. And then sometimes it tries to find patterns in things that are beyond its realm. especially in spiritual matters. So a great task of great difficulty is getting the conscious mind to step aside out of its own way. The same way we've got lungs, we've got a heart, we've got kidneys, we've got a liver, and we've got a brain. All of them function correctly. And if the mind gets inflated, it can greatly interrupt the flow of information coming in from the infinite self. So meditation and using mantras is one of the best ways to bring this monkey brain under control. Hey, little monkey brain, sit down, be peaceful. Here, have a banana, while the infinite soul brings in those gentle whispers of wisdom. And this opens the door. I love what you just said, the mantra. Oh my goodness, that is a definite and guaranteed way of ascension and liberation. But then again, it takes practice, you see. You can't just expect to say a mantra 5 times and for it to have any potency. The potency and power builds as you put energy into it. And it's something that's accumulative. You don't lose this energy. It just keeps on getting stronger and stronger and stronger over time. So now, compared to when you started using this method of going on in your mind, straight, now after a certain period of time, it is that much more powerful and potent. And dare I say,
Amir,
and so putting the meaning of straight and being focused into a mantra, you're not giving your power away to any fictitious deity. You're not basically violating any free will, but the result is guaranteed. You're tapping into your own infinite multidimensional nature, helping the mind, the monkey brain, be at peace in its rightful place. And so that is powerful. I really love what you described.
Speaking of the monkey brain, Dolores Cannon refers to it as Mr. Stupid. So whenever I put someone under, before I have them do visualization and stuff like that, I explain to them what Mr. Stupid is. I get Mr. Stupid all the time. What Mr. Stupid is, you go to meditate, and then life's problems start running through your mind the moment you're trying to focus. And then you start going everywhere else. We like to call that Mr. Stupid. So we tell people whenever Mr. Stupid shows up, acknowledge he's there, but do not focus on the thoughts. Let them come and let them pass. Because when you focus on them, you're like, crap, here comes what happened at work. And then you start focusing on what happened at work. And you don't realize you're empowering the distraction versus like, okay, hold on. This is a temporary distraction. Let the thought come, do a mantra. And if it comes again, just let it slowly fade away. So me specifically, I experience a lot of meditation blocks. More than likely, you're probably going to see that there's an external influence preventing me from doing that. So speaking of meditation and transcendental meditation, what do you recommend to the average person to help them focus more to achieve meditation levels? Because for me, it's incredibly hard.
So you just described the whole process very beautifully. It's allowing Mr. Stupid or the monkey brain or the reptile brain to be at ease. And it takes a level of self-trust to trust that the answers are going to come, to trust that your physical vessel is in a safe environment. I mean, doing QHHT, you know this is part of the pre-requirements of any successful QHHT, for the person to be in a comfortable, silent, and safe environment. Same thing applies. So it's you can do it progressively, the same way you would have done with your clients numbers of times, many times over, allowing the body to relax. So if there's any tension in the muscles, getting rid of that. That automatically disengages the motor cortex. Another way of doing this is keeping the motor cortex on, but doing a combination of mantras and mudras. Speech is controlled by 50% of the motor cortex. Another 25% of the whole thing are the hands. So when you combine mantras and mudras together, you're consciously taking over the operation of the conscious mind, taking control of yourself. So Vajra Manataya Swaha, Ishanaya Yantraya Swaha. With repetition, the mantra and mudra takes over 75% of your conscious movement. The rest of the brain can follow. This can also be done with breathing techniques, which is done in Tai Chi or Qigong. So it's all about taking control, not allowing Mr. Stupid or the monkey brain to run wild, because that's not conducive to meditative states. Once the control is there, there's a level of trust with the primitive brain coming to trust that everything is safe and taken care of. Then in the silence, so think of the consciousness as the surface of a lake. If it's wavy, you'll see no reflection. Once the surface is calm, you'll see the reflection of the clouds, or maybe the stars and the moon if it's nighttime. So the whole thing about meditation is allowing the conscious part of the mind to become still. That stillness is what you are searching for. Now, if, as you brilliantly and correctly said, maybe an intrusive thought comes in, it's okay. You recognize it and honor it. Let it speak. Then you say, okay, I have heard you, I honor you, now you can go to rest. Because at any given moment, the brain is doing so much. It's not natural for it to suddenly shut down. It goes against its function. But with repetition, you get to understand if there are any incessive thoughts that might not even be your own. So then you recognize foreign entities or AIs plugged in. You realize their presence, and then you can deal with them. Once you see them, they're done. And then coming into thoughts that come from other parts of your functionality. So one by one, you address them and set them aside. Then comes a moment when you are actually able to say, I am safe, everything is fine with the world. There's nothing I have to do or anybody I have to talk to, and please, even if it's one moment. Because once you reach that state, an entire lifetime can happen within 60 seconds. Time loses its meaning. So reaching that moment of stillness is what the objective of meditation is. And this comes sometimes with a lot of practice. So therefore, the approach where you would have a set of mala beads and you speak a mantra, this would be very powerful. The repetition is soothing and easing. So like rocking a baby to sleep, this repetitive motion of the sound and the words will put your mind at ease. And then you suddenly get this massive stream coming in. And then it becomes time for you to get used to the immensity of your infinite soul. And then after some time, you don't need the beads anymore. You don't need the mantras anymore. In fact, you reach a state where you never disengage. You're constantly tapped in, constantly in meditation. So it really is an exercise. We're not used to doing this. In fact, this should be part of the curriculum from childhood, to teach us how the body works, the human operating manual. Okay, this brain is brilliant, but you need to be able to switch it off, because there are higher faculties of your infinite being that hold the entire record of everything everywhere at your service. So that's my understanding of meditation. It's the same description of magic. It's the same description of healing. It's really allowing your infinite self to tap in. So practice makes perfect.
I actually watched you do that. You were talking about prime creation and how everything originally started, and in your chair you was rocking back and forth. And I realized
it goes to therapy. And some people think that's strange. The thing is, though,
sorry. I noticed that when you were rocking, that there was a certain cadence and balance in the delivery of your words, and you never stopped. It was almost like an influx of energy was constantly coming in, and
Yes.
you constantly only, it was almost like you were channeling this infinite.
I was channeling.
Body was the conduit, and you had a specific pace in which you would say the information, and it came as energetically. I seen it come in waves.
Yes,
and
sir.
It was palpable, it was tangible, and I was just like, wow, man, like.
I was channeling. That's why I was wearing my shades. My eyes were closed. And my tone changes And this is the infinite self that's bringing in information. And so there is this motion, this rocking, as my body is completely at ease. I don't recall most of what is channeled because the brain is at a state of rest. The memory, all that stuff is kind of offline. So it's very useful to record this stuff. I record it and I listen to it and I go, oh my God, where did this come from? And so that's the infinite soul coming in. So that was channeling. A lot of people can do this. It can be taxing at some times. So you're pulling in a lot of energy. You feel a little bit tired, fatigued after that. But boy, oh boy, is it amazing. So you could probably write down questions on a piece of paper, ask the question, go into a mode where you can channel your infinite self, and it just starts streaming in. Very, very powerful process. We can all do this. So it comes again as a result of meditation where you tap into your infinite soul. You can ask questions across the ocean of space and time, different universes, different domains. There's no limit, really. And so, yes, that was the process you're describing. And so I thought, okay, if I have my eyes closed, it might look weird. So I put on my sunglasses, which looked even weirder.
Honestly, it reminded me that you were literally, I love your black outfit. You remind me of like a converted Buddhist master that brings in a different type of energy that the mainstream versions can't. And your personification of who you are, it manifests as, it's hard to put it into words, man. Like, it's really hard to create the contrast, because if I compared you to like a Buddhist master, again, they lack more than 50% of anything that you've ever achieved. And when I say achieved, I mean integrated from the other lifetimes. And I see that you're the rebel. You're the Buddhist rebel that is peace and love, but you're also the soldier. Again, you're the warrior in the garden. And
yes, sir.
I do love seeing that in you, man. And I have watched you close your eyes, and in some of the videos you've done, when you close your eyes, you have the most powerful reactions emotionally. Because when you close your eyes and you're listening to people speak, you're not necessarily focusing on the words anymore. You're focusing on the emotion of what's being conveyed. And I watch you on a regular basis hold back your tears. And it's truly humbling, because to achieve that in the midst of such turmoil and calamity, and to remain steadfast and to openly release it in front of people, that's true power. To cry in front of another person and look them in the eyes while you're crying, and not holding yourself, trying to hold it back or like cover yourself, that's true power. And I recognize that in you. And
thank you, sir. Yes, I love what you just pointed at. The power of emotion. It is superior to the energy that we can invoke through cognitive processes, because it is a soul thing. So, Drago, you mentioned the love that you have for all living things. That is not a cognitive process. It's not a brain thing. It is a soul thing. And communication with animals, every life form, this is a soul thing. Linguistics are not part of it anymore. And so another distortion in our current civilization is underplaying the importance of emotions. Why are you so emotional? This is weakness. No, my friend. Emotions are your true power. When you're able to perceive them and also emanate them without distortion, every being recognizes this. And so that is how you heal. It is, I know you do this with your work. You're emanating that power of true, unconditional, divine love. And that is the great neutralizer of any imbalance of energy, of memory, any blockages, bringing that imbalance to the point of neutrality, which is the energy of love. So if somebody is really angry, you have to bring them to love with higher energy. This is alchemy, transmutation. But by holding that energy, there's no denying it. Children know it, they recognize it. They run towards you and give you a hug. Animals love you. Plants and trees love you. Adults love you. They may be too distorted to admit it, but this is something that is primary, that is fundamental, beyond anything that our conscious mind can achieve. So yes, emotions are our true power. And if somebody has mastery over their emotions, meaning that they can feel while they hold their own light, this facilitates great healing, trust, companionship. And so, yes, I know that both of us feel intimately affected by the pain others experience, but then through the mastery we've gained by healing ourselves, we've gone through these pains. We know how to deal with them. We're just using the same approach to ourself in another being. So that's the expanded version of it.
Basically,
and that is why
realizing our own mastery of what we've learned ourselves to help impart that upon others.
Yes, which are in fact ourselves. Mm-hmm. So the same techniques that we learn through our own pains and trials are applicable. And that's really the final stage, that you realize there is no border. So the first few stages, you're just dealing with yourself, and inside, I'm cleaning inside, I'm elevating myself. And then the final key, which is the key of Zen, you become a Zen master. You realize, oh my God, there is no border. There is no boundary. It's all me. You've said this many times over. And that's why I know you've mastered the Kuji-Kiri, man. Many times. It's the same wisdom, soul wisdom. And now imagine you learn this in the school of earth, really intimately, masterfully. It becomes part of what and who you are. Then you can become an originator of life, where life doesn't exist. You can become a great teacher to an entire species, an entire universe. So yes, I like to look at this whole dumpster fire that is Earth in these terms. There is beauty at the end of it. There is a purpose to all the suffering. Once you really realize what the objective of this whole thing was, and you're here to get stronger and more masterful, you can realize it's all good. It's really good.
And you realize it's all magic.
It's all magic.
It's all about your perspective of viewing it being magic. And once you realize it's all magic, you can literally start expressing it magically.
Yes. Oh, Drago. And by the way, something that I wanted to absolutely mention for our esteemed audience. Ladies and gentlemen, it is all magic. Please believe this. And also, here comes a respectful and gentle warning. Once you know this, you cannot tap out. This is not a tap out kind of thing. Once you achieve that realization of truth, then you become magic. And so you have to be very, very careful with maintaining the cleanliness of your thoughts and emotions, because a liberated human who knows that they are infinite and multidimensional manifests instantaneously. So you have to do your due diligence to keep yourself at a high energy, keep yourself clean and pristine, and only remain in your light, because you may have negative thoughts towards yourself and others. These quickly come into reality, and then you become a source of harm. So with greater knowledge comes greater burdens and responsibilities. Sometimes being a little human in slumber, in ignorance, is liberating. You have no knowledge, you have no responsibility, you eat, you work, you sleep, you reproduce, and that's it. As an awakened infinite soul, the burden of truth is upon you. And the power of your infinite being manifests at your fingertips, your mind, the words you speak. Please be very careful with this. There is no tapping out. Once you've opened the floodgates, these are open. They don't close anymore. So be aware. With greatness comes great responsibility. Who is that? Spider-Man or Batman?
Spider-Man's uncle.
Yep.
It's absolutely true. Like we have to know that we have a certain responsibility with knowledge and everything we've ever learned, and it can be misused very easily, especially for yourself. And it's people like me and you. That's why, Amir, me and you are so powerful, because, and I think that's why we're on the same team in the same unit,
Yeah.
because like I feel that we've taught each other these things, and that's why we're so similar, because we've suffered so much together. And it was each other's wisdom that kept us together and why we've achieved so much. And that's why I've always felt so deeply connected to you. Like the moment I heard you speak when I did that, we did that speaker kind of meetup for Alien event. The moment I heard you speak, I'm like, I know him. I know him.
Yes,
I
sir.
know him on a soul level. Like I know him more than I think I know. Like, who is this guy? I know him.
Yes,
And
yes,
then
sir.
we figured out that connection with your last reading. So very humbling, man. And I'm
I,
honored to be your friend and your fellow companion in this war against what we're trying to achieve, man.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you see, isn't that brilliant that sometimes the point of a lesson is missed by the individual, and then you have a comrade who gently reminds you, hey, brother, hey, sister, hey, fellow friend, this was the point of it. Don't forget it. And suddenly the whole thing clicks. Oh my God, of course. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Now I know. Now there's no more suffering. I remember. Thank you. And that's the privilege of finding soul family, of ancient soul allies. And so yes, it's the graceful and brilliant dance of life continues, and every now and again the universe blesses us with old friends, old soul family. We come together and say, hey, what's up? How are you? What are you doing this time around? You remember so and so lifetimes ago, you did the same thing. This time, hey, remember, you also have access to this and this and this. It just makes the whole thing so much more enjoyable.
Man, this is a perfect way to end the show, man. Like, Amir,
Yes,
I could
sir.
talk to you for freaking hours, and like I feel that I've only brought up like 3% of everything I was prepared to talk to you about. And I feel that we can do this till the end of time, man. Because like we've
Yes.
done this till the end of time. Like this is what we do behind the scenes. This is all we talk about, you know? And
Yes.
it's hard to find
Yes.
another companion where you can speak about the depths of the cosmos and they truly understand it. So I thank you and I honor you for meeting me there.
Thank you, sir. The honor is all mine. As usual, after many, many lifetimes, I can say the absolute same thing. It's a pleasure and honor and a great privilege to be in your presence. I'm very grateful for the opportunity. I'm humbled and I'm very grateful. Thank you so much.
Man, I'll just mirror that back to you and say thank you and I love you back, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you and bless you.
I'm gonna have to get you on Laura and I's show pretty soon, because like we're gonna have to have a lot more videos coming out, because I think the wisdom that we can impart to basically the rest of the cosmos, man, is infinite. So
And
definitely
and
up the projects.
I would be absolutely delighted.
All right. So in the end, do you have any final thoughts? Any new projects you're involved with? Any new appearances you're going to be doing soon?
I just would like to leave our esteemed audience with a few words of hope and light. Esteemed ladies and gentlemen, you are the source of all sources, the beloved prime creator of all things in all domains. Manifest into these bodies for the purpose of creation of life and beauty and glory. And so the difficulty of the experiment here in the 3D reality only equals the greatness of the rewards as a soul, as an in the potential of life to come forth from this hardship. At the end, there is only grace and beauty. Please do not deny yourself the rewards of remembering and liberation. Please do your due diligence to release the shackles that no longer fit you, that are frankly beneath you, and focus on your truth. You don't need to go outwards, focus inwards, and there within lies the light of source and any truth and the answer to all questions and the remedy to all pains. I honor you and I salute you and I bless you and I wish you all the very best.
Can only smile, man. Your wisdom is infinite, my man.
Thank you.
All right, as we prepare to conclude our expedition through the portal to another dimension, the resonance of past lives and all of our experiences and all the trauma we've been through now is coalescing into a specter of transhumanism, serving a poignant reminder that humans are very powerful, and we have to look on the inside for our own evolution. It reminds us that as a collective humanity, we have already crossed the Rubicon of space exploration, delving into places once confined to the realms of science fiction. As the veil slowly lifts, revealing glimpses of the classified reality hidden in the shadows, let us not forget that this journey offers merely a glimpse into the limitless depths waiting to be uncovered. But fear not, for our journey is far from its conclusion. The portal lingers, its energies pulsating with anticipation for the next chapter in our cosmic saga. Stay tuned for the sequel, where deeper mysteries await and the cosmic narrative unfolds. Subscribe now and become a companion on this interstellar expedition with me as we jump through different portals to the unknown. The universe's script is ever evolving, and you don't want to miss a single episode. As I now begin to slowly close this portal in this chapter, remember, Portal to Another Dimension is not another podcast. It's your portal to the unknown. Until next time, portal jumpers, keep your compasses steady, your curiosity burning, and your spirit attuned to the whispers and frequency of the cosmos. This is Drago, your navigator, bidding you farewell for now. And until next time, may the mysteries of the cosmos continue to beckon you into the unknown until the next cosmic chapter unfolds. The portal to another dimension is now closed. Until next time, everyone.